Hi, everyone. Welcome to Domain Sherpa, and thank you for tuning in to the podcast with the best domain name and digital asset content in the world. Today's episode is a Domain Sherpa review titled The Price is Right, and it features Braden, Shane, and Drew. And rest in peace to Bob Barker, one of the best to ever do it. On today's show, we play the domain game featuring nests.com, fiasco.com, uniquecontent.com, and dropday.com. And then we've got the NameJetGonnaJet segment, sponsored by NameJet. And we talk about some domains coming up for auction, including organickitchen.com, malpracticeattorneys.com, survivalproducts.com, and trojanhorse.com. We also talk about the performance of everybody's domain name portfolios in August and the recent uptick in domain markets. We also have a discussion around lease to own plans, the positives and negatives and different approaches for that. All that and more is happening on today's episode, so definitely don't miss all this. And remember, if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, you can also watch the video version at domainsherpa.com and on our YouTube channel at ds.tv. You can also listen to the shows on Apple and Spotify and other podcast platforms as well. So make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button everywhere that you can. We appreciate it. And also, now we're integrating our shows with Muse.ai, which provides new search functionality for the shows and transcripts as well. So definitely check all that out. And big shout out to Dan.com, the #1 place in the world to buy and sell your domains with a special platform made for domain investors. With that, it's now time to get into this episode of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. What's up, Sherpa Network? Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Jonathan Tenenbaum, a.k.a. JT, a.k.a. Jay On, a.k.a. Sherpa Winfrey, a.k.a. John Burgundy, and I'm the host and producer of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Today's show is the Domain Sherpa Review, the seminal show on the Domain Sherpa Network, where we get into the minds of the most successful domain investors in the world using real examples so we can learn strategies and tactics to become more successful domain name investors ourselves. These are the experts. Shane just jumped out. We're going to have to see if he'll rejoin us here. We're in the middle of a hurricane, although he's not in any of the hurricane-affected areas. But, just coming up with some excuses to why he just disappeared from the feed for those of you who are watching and not just listening. As we say on every show, there are 4 segments to the Domain Sherpa Review. There's the grand opening. That's where I intro the Sherpas. We see what's going on with them, and we talk about some related stuff. The domain game, where we hear what the Sherpas recently bought or sold. Everybody guesses. We keep score and get out some swag to the winner. Segment 3, NameJetGonnaJet, sponsored by our friends at NameJet, where we review a list of domains coming up for auction to see what the Sherpas like, what they don't like, all that good stuff. And then last but not least, we've got GrandClosing, where we discuss anything we haven't covered already, what's going on in the domain space, looking at the market trends, current events, allowing the guests to mention or promote anything they want to talk about that we have not already discussed. Shane is back. So let's go ahead and introduce the Sherpas. Over to my right, I got my boy Andrew Rosner, a.k.a. Morpheus, a.k.a. the Dirk Diggler of digital assets, a.k.a. Bob Lee Swagger the Sniper, a.k.a. Drew. Drew got what I need, a.k.a. every Rosner has his thorn, a.k.a. never going to give Drew up. Graybeard, the domain pirate. Cancel Adams in the house. Back from a few-week hiatus. He's been traveling this summer. For those of you who follow his social, his Instagram, his Twitter, you'll see that he's been out and about. What's going on, man? Welcome back home. What's happening?
All good in the hood, came back trying to dig out, get my head above water. Got a lot of water above my head still, but all good, man. We June was, coming into, let's say, summer mode. May was a good month, but we felt like volume was, we had some big deals, and the numbers sort of lie in the sense that it was a good month, but it seemed like things were slowing down. June was kind of the same thing. And my anticipation, I think my words to you were, look, I'm going to basically go, screw off for the next 8 weeks. My expectation is that we don't lose money, and anything above that expectation is gravy. And,
Yes,
I really didn't expect this summer to be super productive. I've been anticipating, that recession that everybody's been worried about sort of happening for a while now. I see every reason in the world for growth to slow down and credit to come to a bottleneck and all sorts of bad things to happen. But the truth is, everywhere I went this summer, flights were full, places were full, restaurants were full, beaches were full. Everything was popping. And the domain market kept popping too. So we are about to close out August. It's August 30th today. And August is going to turn out to be the first or second best month of the year for us.
Man, what's up?
I think second best. I think January we had an absolute just big pimping month. But this was an absolutely epic month. And so that was a shocker. And so I come back satisfied and, ready to kick ass, take names, and
I'm gonna bounce more often.
Keep the momentum going. Yeah.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Yeah, no, absolutely. And it has been a really great month. And yeah, no, I mean, I think you see anecdotally a lot of that same stuff. Like you said, it's people are still out doing their thing, spending money, buying stuff. You see some of it kind of, when you look at some of the bigger macro trends around certain things and certain industries, and, real estate seems like it's, kind of has to be teetering to some degree because you've got these astronomically high interest rates compared to what people have been used to these last few years.
It's a tricky, people only scratch the surface though when they think about this stuff. And the thing is though, is the reality is like, okay, we've got significantly higher interest rates. And it's not just about that. It's about the speed at which they went up. Right. And so if you got a place, and you got into it with a mortgage rate of 2.5%, 3%, and now you go to the bank and they're like, oh, it's 7%. Like you can't transact, right? So the market can only actually move, it can't move that much because like, yeah, it sucks. Oh, now you're going to go into the rental market instead of the buyer's market. But the guy that has the overpriced house, he can't sell because number one, there's no buyer. And number two, he can't afford to buy something else at a, he got lucky. Even if he can't afford that mortgage, the next mortgage is going to give him half the house at double the price in terms of what he's got to pay every month. So, I just,
I think
the real estate market's actually just more stuck than anything else. I think it's just stuck because people can't afford to buy, people can't afford to sell. And so it's just gonna very slowly, I think, work its way out. Commercial real estate
transactions are still happening though.
Yep.
Yeah. And here's the thing is Zillow, who's been very accurate, predicts next year's prices will go up 6.5%. They just actually upped that from 6. There's no inventory. So as we know in everything, it comes to supply and demand. So we can pretend like things aren't hopping, but if there's nothing to buy, then things will continue to hop. They're not even talking about new homes. I expect the new homes to plummet. And I don't pretend my neighborhood is the world.
They have no choice. Developers can't do it at these rates.
Yeah.
But housing starts are up.
Housing starts are up.
Really?
And that's absolutely.
I think it comes down. I think Shane makes a really great point. There's a supply crunch, right? And that's the thing. Is like so then it makes it so the homes that are available are still getting bought. So we.
But you know what? It's kind of like the Bitcoin market. It's like we can sit here and bloviate about housing starts are up, things are still moving, but it's like what percentage of the market is floating? It's like teeny tiny, right? In Rhode Island, which is an absolute shit market, where I'm from, where my parents live, absolute shit market. There is nothing happening in Rhode Island. They had an opportunity to be a biotech center. They messed that up. They had a few major corporations that headquartered there. They messed that up by killing them, raising corporate taxes. There's just nothing happening in Rhode Island. Like there's no reason to move to Rhode Island other than to retire. And if you're going to retire, I don't know why you're going to Rhode Island. So I literally I'm got a career, I'm buying house, I don't know what people are doing to pay for expensive homes in Rhode Island. Anyways,
this was brought to you by the Rhode Island Tourism Board.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Rhode Island.
They keep talking about, there's never been so few homes on the market, and they talk about that as if it's bullish, and it's like, that's like look how strong the market is, but it's not. The float is like this, and the reason there isn't a lot of homes in the market is because people can't sell because they can't get a mortgage on something else. And so I don't know. I maybe I'm wrong.
But it's all the same if you're trying to sell your house. There's still
last thing,
That's
and
true.
then we'll keep it moving. Last thing, and then we'll keep it moving too. I mean, look, I know there's this push to try to get people back in the office, but people are still working remotely more than ever before, and people are home more than ever before still. Even though we are trending back to getting back physically into the office, but it's the commercial real estate folks, which is a whole nother conversation that I think have bigger concerns than.
But in summary, it is. Everybody is surprised. We all expected a second half of 2023 to be rough, and it has turned out not to be the case. And it has been very resilient. But the people with money, it's not a problem, right? So that's the thing. At 5.8% that I just put my treasury bill in yesterday, it's good to have money. So things are not bad. If you have money, you're getting more interest than ever. So the people with money are just doing fine. It's the people without money that are suffering more. And that's kind of how it's always been, right?
Oh, it always goes. Yeah. We have a realtor friend who, like, when she posts on Instagram and all this kind of stuff, she's like, fall in love with the house. Don't fall in love with your rate, because, for the folks that, like a couple of percentage points.
That's what a realtor would say.
That's exactly what a realtor would say. I'm like,
that sounds real good. That's some real rainbows and butterflies shit.
Don't worry about money.
But here's the thing: at 3% on, let's call it a $300,000 house, your mortgage payment.
Oh no, I get like the impact. I understand.
$700 a month.
When I locked my rate.
$500,000 is $1,400.
Again, I'm making a mistake of doing public math, but like whatever it is, let's just say for. Illustrative purposes.
No, I looked at it. $500,000 is about $1,400 more a month for the exact same home.
Exactly. You go from 3% to 6% rates. Your monthly payment for the exact same house just doubled.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and that's coming from something, right? So that's your disposable income that you would spend on X, Y, or Z, and whoever those are gonna not get that. So that's reality.
Yeah, and it's not a matter of a little bit more money because people are going to, they're spending as much as they possibly can usually on their mortgage. It's like they can afford.
But anyways, these are the people buying our domains.
$3,000, and so it's like they can afford $3,000 and then live on the whatever the balance.
But they could be the companies.
And then, but if their mortgage goes from $3,000 to $6,000, then it's just not affordable. Period.
Unobtainable.
Yeah,
unobtainable.
And
all right, let's move on to domain, shall we?
Yeah, and the point Drew was making though is like, are the people buying houses the people buying domains? I don't know, but domains have done well. Let's hope, knock on wood, that the the trend continues positively, and we'll see it'll do what it do. All right, we're not even through the AKA. So to my lower right, we got my boy Braden Pollock, aka Tony Stark, aka Benjamin Button, aka Eat Bray Love, aka Braden Statham, aka Braden Pollockton, the Viscount of Woodland Hills. It's not that your domain is
Viscount. That's new.
It's not that your domain exactly, because he used to be the Archduke of Calabasas. Then he moved, even though he wasn't in Calabasas. So now he's the Viscount of Woodland Hills. I don't know where that sits on the royal titles. If we had someone from, I think is it a downgrade? It's probably a downgrade, huh?
I got the book that tells you everything about it right here.
This is what you don't get this anywhere else. This is what I'm talking about. Look at that. Peerage and parentage. Is that that's a word.
This is the official book. This is the fucking book. You want to know like who is the Viscount of Viceroy? That's just in here. It'll tell you who he answers to and who answers to his ass.
Who's the Viscount of Woodland Hills?
You are, dog.
Well, it's not in here.
It wouldn't be in that book.
You're in the
next 2000. That's like the 2008 edition.
At some point, America was British.
See, so look at that. That's what's good. Anyway, it's not that your domain is worthless. It's just that it's worth less. Did you see that?
The first time that book's been opened in like a decade. Dust flew off of it.
I actually was just looking through it for a different purpose. Like I was trying to figure out. I had this client, and I had gotten on the phone with him.
No, we're not talking about your. This is an intro of me right now. We're not talking about your client. If we
it's a domain client. It's a domain client.
ADD in this group is just off the charts.
Hey,
turned out to be Prince William.
So look, all I'm saying
I knew he was somebody, so I had to look his ass up, and he was.
So like,
So
yo,
I'm
the
great.
fact that
I'm
you
a
just
domain
pulled that
investor.
book
Nice
off the
to meet you guys.
shelf
Thank
is
you so
pretty
much.
crazy.
Listen,
Well,
man, you want to know how to be
pressing
successful
flowers
in
for
things?
3 months.
You got to have a very wide. You got to know a little bit about a lot of things.
Oh yeah, you got to have a wide range, dog. Anyway, it's not that your domain is worthless; it's just that it's worth less. What's up, Braden? How you doing, man? You're in New York. Where you at? You in a hotel? What's good?
Yeah, I'm in a tiny little New York hotel.
Okay.
Kind of an odyssey of a tour. I started in Israel and then Jordan, then London for Domain Summit, and then Paris, and now New York. I got to New York last night. I'll be here for the rest of the week. I was sick for most of it. I got horrible food poisoning or salmonella or something in Jordan that had me in bed for like 3 days straight, and then just sick. I'm still recovering, and I'm on day 10. This is getting sick. It's been
That's crazy.
yeah,
I didn't think
terrible.
that vegans could get salmonella. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know that was like a.
It could have been.
It's
It
all
could have
over
been
the
like
vegetables.
the water that the vegetables are washed in, or something. Could be anything.
Yeah. All right. How was the domain days or the London Domain
It's
Summit?
pretty good. Helmets, who runs it, says he sold 250 tickets. There's
Okay.
definitely not 250 people there at any given time, but he said people were kind of in and out.
Sure.
So just taking his word for it.
And I'm sorry, it was
But
London Domain Summit. Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it was good. I mean, I saw some of the pictures and things, and I saw you on a panel or two from what it looked like. And
I was just barely hanging on. Oh man, I rallied the best I could to get enough energy together to get up on that stage, but I was hurting. I had not had a meal in 3 days when I was on that stage.
damn. Well, you look like you lost some weight. You know what I'm saying? Like the salmonella diet that's some LA shit. Get ready for the Oscars. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Like,
I did. I literally had to buy some jeans because like I had a couple pair of jeans that don't fit me. I lost so much weight.
oh, man, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous.
So, just for the record,
There's no
the
record.
Viscount title ranks between the eldest son of a marquis and the eldest son of an earl.
Ooh, okay.
Great.
Which is then followed by the younger son of a marquis.
How's that going to help in solitaire?
Well, where it's going to help you is the next time
And
that
the
you deal
official
with the eldest son of a
abbreviation
marquis
is
and he tells you to go
BY.
shine his shoes, you know whether you have to do it or not. And the answer is
Yeah,
You know what
that's
I'm
exactly
saying?
correct.
So
All right.
but you could tell the younger
Moving
son
on.
of the marquis, you go get my shine box. You know what I'm saying? That's it. I like it. So Archduke was where it was at, man. But hey, you're a Viscount.
You moved way down the totem pole.
An Archduke is between a duke and a king, dog. You know what I'm saying? So but anyway, all right. Well, welcome sort of back to the United States. Glad you're sort of on the road to recovery and all that good stuff. Hopefully but
let's move this along. Afterwards, I'm having dinner. I'm having lunch with Larry Fisher. He doesn't want to wait.
Nice. That's what's up. That's what's up, man. All right, let's go. All right, well, below me, we got my boy Shane Culture, aka Sugar Shane, aka Honey Shane, aka Blame It on the Shane, aka House of Shane, in Shane in the membrane, in Shane in the blockchain, aka the Culture Club, doing it for the culture. What's up? You disappeared before, so I was about to break out the shit from the clip from the old cowboy movie, being like, "Come back, Shane! Come back, Shane!" Billy, if you can dig that up, we're not going to get hit with a copyright infringement claim. Go ahead and throw that in the mix.
My dog came running in and knocked my $6,000 camera to the ground. So
of course
that's
what happens.
That guy follows me everywhere.
I thought it was my, we're in the middle of this hurricane Idalia, and although it's not too bad where we are, and for a second I thought it was me because I've been really nervous about losing power and internet. But because trees are shaking and things are a little crazy outside, but not too crazy. I was actually talking about how Drew back in town.
Just an 85-pound Labrador.
Drew. Yeah, 85-pound Labrador versus 85-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah,
take the dog every time.
I promise you that Labrador, when it was a puppy, did as much damage as a hurricane sometimes.
Exactly right.
That thing did some chewing. But yeah, all good. It's I kind of just I've been turning into an old man, just reading and learning, and I felt really old. I was actually reading the paper for the first time, figure out what was going on. I can't not work. Like it's done. I did my time. Like I really thought, I went from 100 to 0 to 50. I just got to be going 100. Like that's just who I am. It just like I started. Now I'm running like 12 miles a day because I'm like I got to do something. I went out and did a 12-mile run before this just to get out and do something. So I'm ready to roll. I'm just ready.
Same
like,
here.
Man,
I went out and got a bake. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
hey, at least you can keep that down. You know what I'm saying? That's a.
And then there's me. I haven't even gotten out of my chair except to like fix my shorts.
Yeah.
Well,
no, it's just there's a lot going on. It's I mean, again, I love it. Like I said, I thought I had my best domaining month in years. August has been really, really good. It's nice. Like, all those portfolios are paying off, right? Like that's what you hope for, is you hope some guy comes, or a woman or company comes knocking on the door on a name that you haven't been blowing on for a while, and all of a sudden they're really interested in it. And again, I don't mind LTOs. Like I know people are afraid that they're not going to pay, but there's something about those monthly checks coming in for cash flow that are pretty nice sometimes. You kind of forget you sold them, and then they just keep adding up. So
also sales that may not have happened at all.
Yeah,
I mean, when you're a company of runways, think about a company. They a lot of people look at the negative, like they could bail anytime, but also look at it from a company standpoint that they really want the name, and they feel that it's worth it to just have the payments, and they'll just it's like buying a car they can't afford, right? Like there's a lot of people that do a car on 72 months on a car they should never have owned, but they really want it. Well, domain at least is a good asset for them versus that car. But it's the same concept. It just
I just don't like the way it's being implemented though through Dan and Afternick. I just don't.
No, and we can talk about that later.
I think LTO in general is the wrong.
We talk about it right now.
Well, so here's the thing. So I had 2 customers that prefer a bulk at the front, a runway on one of them for the rest of them to a certain period of time. Another one that would like a bulk, runway, bulk. I'm cool with all these because, but here's the problem.
Can be addressed through. There's only one structure that works, as far as I'm concerned, and for tax reasons, for structural reasons. No, it does. You can't do it. None of these guys. None of them listen. I told GoDaddy. I told Schilling 7 years ago. I told all these guys. I said, guys, this is the way you should operate your marketplace. You should build it around this. This is how domain transactions are going to happen in the future. Nobody listened, and now what GoDaddy's doing is, I think, very problematic. I think John Berryhill's right. I think he's wrong on some other stuff, but I think he's very right. Like this LTO structure they're doing is terrible. I would never engage in that. But I think if you do a lease with an option to buy, you can structure it all of those ways. And as far as I can tell, it is completely clean. It protects you from bankruptcy. It is a actual legitimate lease. It's not just a payment plan that you put lease on the top of. It's an actual lease. This person has no right to ownership, but they have an option to buy it if they so choose. In the meantime, they're paying a lease. You can charge a fee up front, call that the deposit. That's the option fee. I'm just like if I go on Schwab right now and I want to buy a call option, I pay a fee for that option. Now, the lease is separate to that. I'm buying an option over a course of 5 years, and in the course of that 5 years, in parallel, you sign a 5-year lease. And you have 5 years to use a domain. You paid something up front for the option to buy it. That gives you a path to ownership if you so choose. And then you got 5 years of runway to go build a business around it. Let the domain pay for itself. And at the end of that year, at the end of that, you pay the principal amount. You pay whatever the purchase price is. And you can adjust those levers. You can increase the lease and make the purchase price lower. You can make the purchase option higher. You can play with all those levers. Play with time. There's 4 or 5 different levers that you can play with there to basically account for most situations that we've run into. But that's the only way that I've structured it.
Yeah. I mean, and some of it's
people
just
don't realize
wording, right?
In America.
What's that?
Go ahead. No, in America, it's really problematic. This lease to own, like, that's so great. It's a $8,000 sale. It's on a lease to own. Boom. The moment you get that first payment, I'm not accountant. I don't play one on the internet, but the advice that I've been given and what I understand is that the moment you receive that first payment, in the way that these LTOs are structured, you are liable for taxes, capital gains tax on the full amount of the purchase price. So if it's an $8,000 deal and they're paying 50 grand a month, let's say $50 a month, the moment you take in that first $50, you're now, let's just say you got that domain for $100 and you sold it for $8,000. Well, you got $50 on that first payment, or let's call it $100 on that first payment. Well, you now owe capital gains tax on $7,900. And that's a lot more than $50, right? So they could, now, if they default, you equally get that, you get to write off the default, right? The money that you never collected on the sale that you booked when they made their first payment. But you are liable for taxes on the full amount as soon as that first payment comes in, unless it is a legitimate and actual lease. You're also liable under bankruptcy.
Yeah, it's a good question. I should follow up with accounting to find out, because I don't. I know we touched on this a little bit internally, but we don't do a lot of the lease. We do the lease with the purchase option. So effectively the payment, because I think you also run into an issue too, which is at what point do they establish rights into the domain once they've made a payment or two? If it's
another issue that we address in our contract, that that those rights that they establish actually get reassigned to us. They actually never even get reassigned. Those rights that they establish are attributed to us, the lessor, until such time as they purchase the domain name. So part of their lease is the right to use the rights that they are accruing, but we own them until such time as they actually effect the final purchase option.
All right. Well, this is like you. It's like you're teaching economics. We've lost the class.
Yeah, I don't have enough. But it depends on how you record your domains. Do you amortize them?
Yep. And then there's also the contract language is key. I mean, this is a whole nother conversation to have, but I think it's an interesting.
Those variables, all of those variables matter. Completely changes everything. If you don't treat your domains as inventory and you treat them as an asset, and you're amortizing them, different situation. All of these things are different scenarios. But just generally speaking, very broad strokes. And this is not financial accounting or economic.
No, everybody's different. Yeah.
I was kind of shocked when I learned that if you just say, oh yeah, pay me, it's $30,000, pay me $5,000 a month for 6 months. Okay. But the moment you get the first $5,000, you owe capital gains on whatever your profit is from the first 30.
I don't think a good CPA would book it that way.
Yeah.
I've never booked
by
it
law.
that way.
I don't know the answer. I mean, I think it's a good question. It's something we should know. I'm going to make a note.
If it's in 6 months, it's not a huge deal because if it's in the same calendar year.
Yeah, most of these aren't 6 months though. Most of them are multi-year.
Yeah.
And if it's multi-year,
I know. I have several multi-year. Yeah.
Yeah.
And mine are straight all capital gains.
Look into
anyway.
it. I could very well be wrong. I've killed a lot of brain cells in my life, so it's very possible I'm wrong.
My poor CPA
I am fairly confident that I'm not. I'm fairly confident I'm right.
Between the crypto and the domains and all this, my CPA, I'm definitely his least favorite person, or her least favorite person.
Especially if they don't do a lot of web.
All right, let's keep it moving.
Crypto, domain.
My crypto is 1,100 pages. 1,100 pages of crypto trading.
JT, it's going off the rails. Take control.
All right. You're right, Braden. Thank you. All right. Well, look, that was great doing all the AKAs and the introductions. Look, I don't mind if we cover something domain related in the intro stuff, because really this is the stuff that I think is interesting to folks that watch the show, right? So, and there are, I think a good bit of interesting pieces to that and variables and all that good stuff. So all good. But
what's important?
Let's move on to the domain game. Yeah, no,
that part of it. I mean, that is a legit deal of. If we can sell to more domain names, if we have a better pathway for our buyers to buy them, right?
100%.
So the more
better
options they
mechanisms. I mean,
have,
this was one of the things that we said about all the Web3
so it's a
stuff that was
great
pretty cool.
discussion.
Was how when NFTs were actually, positive.
Now we really off the rails.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
just saying
How
though,
far
No
off the rails you want to
no
go?
getting back on the rails.
the idea
I
of
was
like
just like,
instant
wait,
All right, let's
transfer,
domain game. Let's go.
instant
Domain game.
transfer,
You
instant
lost me at
settlement.
NFTs. Let's go. Come on.
All right, fine. They're still digital assets, but all right. So
Look, I agree. I even like them, but I don't want to talk
hey,
about
we good. We good. The domain game, guys. We on the domain. Let's go. Who's got a name? You got to buy or sell, Drew? What you got? What can you actually disclose out here in these digital
all right.
streets?
Well, I got a whole bunch of pretty absolute bomber sales, but I can't talk about them. But I'll tell you what, they
Get to
make a
Andrew
whole bunch
Miller,
of other
and be
people
like,
feel
we
real
have the
uncomfortable.
biggest sales that have ever been made in the history of the internet.
Yeah.
I can give you no detail.
No
Right.
joke,
Take it.
folks.
Yeah. Really? But listen, it's all good. We love you, Andrew. Even if you bloviate. All right. No, listen, it's all good. It's inside joke.
It is all
Inside
good.
joke.
What you got? You got to buy or
but
sell, man. Stop stalling.
look, I'm deciding. I'm gonna go with a buy. I'm gonna go with a buy because I can go with a couple of small sales, but I'm gonna go with the buy.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to tell us what that name is?
I guess 1,000.
3888.
Nest.com. Nest.com.
Nest.
2 S's
Nest.
like Elliot. Oh,
Plural, like
birds' nests.
birds' nests. Yes, plural. Nests.
Nests.
Time out. NESS.com.
I like this domain until we started talking about it. Nest.com. You know what I'm saying? Like
NESTS.
No.
yeah, like a
Oh.
bird. Like
Oh, I thought you meant like Elliot
bird.
Ness.
but it's also
Like a bunch of
it's also-
bird nest.
It's like cribs.
Yes. Nests. Did you bought nests.com?
Yes.
Oh, see, I thought
He doesn't know about this one yet.
yeah, no, all right. Well, oh man, this one gets to be awkward because if I'm way off, then it's like
Yeah, I don't. Oh,
right.
I mean,
get your
that's
phone out. All right, so it is nests.com, nests.com. Birds nests. I like it. And it's a buy and
yeah. I don't, this is a tough one. Oh, I'm losing my publicity for B
All
House
right. Oh yeah, you got to get a new button on the back, man.
and they
That's
sticker.
That's what happens when you use that fucking vegan ink.
I'm kind of torn.
This isn't
here.
vegan ink. This is straight from dead dogs and cats.
Nests.
I'm just kidding.
All right. All right. Let me know when you guys are ready to flip it. Braden, you ready?
Flip it on.
Before I change my number. All right. 3, 2, 1. Oh man.
Whoa.
So, okay. So Shane's at
Wow.
8,500. Braden is at 9,000. I'm at 14,999. I was at 9,999 and then changed it right before because we had a little bit of time. So we would have all been, but anyway, it is what it is. So, all right. So Drew, who is the winner?
Impressively, all very close, but Shane wins. It was $8,000.
8,000. All right. That's what's up, man. That's a solid. I think that's a good price for
$8,000.
that domain.
Yeah.
That
Now-
that actually was brought to me. I don't remember who brought it. And I didn't like it. I didn't remember how much.
I just think it's like for $8,000, like if it was 40 grand, I wouldn't like it. But at $8,000, I was like, that's a really good brand for some real estate agent that is trying to build a brand, right? Like that's a great real estate brand. Ness is a highly correlated word with real estate, right? Anyways, I thought that was a great deal. I don't know if it was the last episode I was on or the one before that. I basically publicly said I'm not buying domains anymore.
Yep.
Just for the simple reason that I have more than I'm ever going to sell.
But we all knew
but
you were lying.
I did.
Exactly.
You all
We
knew I
didn't
was
believe
lying,
you.
number one. No, nobody believed me, number one. And number two, I did give the caveat that unless something is a screaming deal. And I think Nest.com for $8,000 was a screaming deal. There is absolutely multiple real estate agents out there in the world that would love to own Nest.com for, let's say, 30 to 50 grand, easy. Maybe 75, maybe 100, maybe 150. You know, I gotta
Just keep
dig
looking
in,
up,
and
maybe 200, maybe
you know what I'm
250.
depends on the day, depends on how I'm feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, no,
So
look, I think that's a good
it.
price. I thought it was a little higher. You know, like I said, I was originally in that 999, but all right, well, good job, Shane. So, and good job, Drew. Good work. All right, Braden, what do you got? You got a buy or a sell? So the point goes to Shane, and he is currently leading in the clubhouse.
I've got a
I got
sale.
this
I
one.
actually had 3 sales while I've been traveling, and
Nice.
and some like 3 or 4 legit negotiations happening, like high value.
Market's strong.
It's definitely turned up.
Remarkably strong at the moment.
So so the name that let's go with fiasco.com.
Ooh, Fiasco.
Ooh, I love this name, actually.
Fiasco.
Fiasco.
Isn't there
Sell to
somebody
Lupe.
whose
You sell
nickname
to
is
Lupe.
Fiasco?
Lupe
Isn't there
Fiasco.
like a
That's my new rapper name.
Lupe Fiasco.
DJ Fiasco.
Fiasco.
I don't know.
There's already
Lil
a rapper.
Fiasco.
He's from Chicago.
No,
man.
like in the 90s, there was a dude in the 90s who was like,
Lupe
dude was a
Fiasco.
hot mess, and his like middle name was Fiasco. Like,
I don't know about that, but
You
Lupe
remember?
Fiasco is pretty legit. I actually enjoy his stuff. So, all right. So, okay, what did you sell Fiasco.com for?
oh, hold on. I didn't do my number.
What did you sell?
I'm still thinking.
Oh,
Do.
I'm all right. I'm feeling all right. Let me know when you're ready, Shane.
Okay. I'm giving him lots of credit here.
Oh, okay. Then I probably should go up higher. But here we go. 3, 2, 1, flip it. What you got? Oh, okay. What do you got, Drew? Oh, all right. So I've got 99,999. So 100,000 basically. Drew has 175,888. 175,888, and Shane's got 280,000. So we've got a stretch from about 100 grand to 280,000. And
I told you guys I'm not fucking around anymore. I've been playing for like years. Like, it's time to work.
Oh shit, Shane's
Come on,
going
Braden.
down the gauntlet.
Okay, closest to the pin. Drew.
Oh, in the middle. Okay.
How close?
The price was 203,500.
Oh, come on. What did you put, Drew?
That is
nice.
Drew's closer.
Well
Yeah,
done.
Okay.
Well done.
Yeah.
Done.
It was an
How'd the 3 come in?
we how did it get to that weird number?
How do you round it up to 203,000?
It was just calculation. What we do is we add on the commissions, because I was not using a GoDaddy lander, I was using FD lander, so we had added commissions on to compensate for if somebody wants to pull the trigger on Afternic, which is what they did. They didn't reach out direct, they didn't go through FD, pull the trigger, so it was a bin.
Wow, that's a high bin. That's a pretty legit bin, dude.
Yeah. Hold time 4.5 months.
What? What'd you buy
Wow.
it for? What'd you buy it for?
I paid 13.5.
Oh man, look at you. You know, you're like,
I
yo,
am staying with Braden. Braden, I'll be there.
what you can't see in that hotel room he's in. He's like, I'm in this small little room. He's in the corner of this enormous penthouse suite, you know, at the plaza right now. Well, congratulations, man. Billy, give that man some cheers. Give him some love. Wow.
Give him a boo-boo.
This is a tiny room, although it's still like $308 a night or something.
I know.
It's
We need to
but you know what? Hotels in general are just ridiculous all over the world right now. Anywhere you go, it's just. I feel like prices like $1,000 a night is the new $300.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
1,000 is the new 300. Speaking of which, like, I think where we're staying in LA, I got to change the room up. I'm going to ping you offline, Braden, for your recommendations on that. But anyway, but all right, well, great job. That's awesome. And great job to Drew for for getting the point. All right, so Shane, what you got? You got to buy or sell, because if Drew gets this, he wins the game.
I know. I'm gonna make it. I do have a lot of good sales. I'm still gonna do a buy just because it was an interesting name. I bought uniquecontent.com.
Ooh, okay.
thought it was kind of an interesting name with all the AI going out there right now.
All right.
You know what? The funny thing is I think I put on, we were talking, I said, I'm not going to tell anybody the price of Mega Fuel because I was going to save it for Sherpa, but no, we'll do it next time.
All right.
No looking.
All right. Uniquecontent.com. Sorry, I was going to text it here. All right. Let me know when y'all are ready.
Do it.
Flip it. What do you got, Drew?
Drew, look alive.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
You know, it's a
Braden's
buy.
at 900. I'm at 999. And Drew is at
Wait, wait,
Damn,
4,000.
unique content.
You think he paid $4,888 for it?
4,888.
Okay, I'm gonna revise. You guys are.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
You can when you own the show.
It was so
Yeah.
Exactly. You'd be like, you paid.
All right,
for this
what'd you pay?
You so egregious.
1,400.
1,400. That's me with the point
Ah.
then.
You know what? The first number I had was $1,350. I should have stuck.
That's
with
a
my
great
gut.
deal. Straight up, like unique content, $1,400. Great
Yeah.
deal.
That's
Great
an
deal.
awesome
It
name.
was,
Yeah.
I had 2,500 in there. Just, I don't know if I was going to 10x it right off the bat, but and curated like content, handwritten content, everything that's like bespoke is going to be important. As we switch to AI, I just feel like we're going to turn the opposite way.
I want to use those two terms because I own curate.net, which I sold and then bought back from the guy when he went out of business. And I just sold bespoke.vc.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Good terms.
I think influencer, curated data, hand done content. I feel like that's going to be super, super, super valuable coming on.
I mean,
Don't get me wrong,
those-
AI is important too, but
AI helps to create that unique content, right?
we always turn the opposite direction in everything we do, right? Like when everybody goes to A, people want B. When everybody goes to C, people want B. We're always going the opposite. So, and I do think, I don't know that he wants me to say, but I met with maybe the largest SEO owner of the company in the world, and he's legitimately on hold, like his whole company. They just don't know where to go because the content of AI is coming out so fast. And I don't mean him, but his customers. 50% of his customers are saying, let's just wait. We got to figure out what to do here because the SEO is not, if you go right now to Google, what's the top bar say? Hey, do you want to switch to AI in search now? It's changing. We're in the middle of a change. So it is, it's an interesting world we live in. And to have the biggest SEO people saying, we're in limbo as far as where we're headed.
Who do you think maybe the largest SEO guy is?
Well, I can say the company I talked to is out of Jerusalem that does most of European, a lot of American. They have a New York base too. I'll tell you offline who it is. And I know the guy, like the companies that he's worked for, you've known definitely. And there's a lot of one word, and we'll say all this offline because I don't like to share my conversations with people online, but they work with a lot of oneword.coms who are producing content in specific niches, and it's all SEO driven. Like those people don't even, half the people that are in these areas don't know much about their content. They just have a killer domain and a killer category, and then they SEO the shit out of it. And these companies come in and do a great job, but it's writers and ranking and buying links. I mean, the buying links thing is a billion-dollar industry. We can see it in our domains. When you go to GoDaddy right now and go look at the top 10 current prices, I would guess that 8 of those are SEO names. Would you say that's true?
No. Six of them are fake bids, and then the other 2 are SEO.
Yeah.
Tell me something. I've been only tangentially following, but it seems like there's like a new fake bid problem on GoDaddy or something.
Yeah, so it's actually not new. It's been around for a while, but they've really ramped up.
But I thought they like squashed it, because I remember you had this like obvious thing where people could put a crazy bid in and then put another bid on top of that, and it would be so far out of range that nobody else is going to bid, and then it defaults back to the second bidder, right? So
that's what's happening, and it's happening on everything that's like.
That was like years ago that was happening, and then I thought it kind of went away.
No, it's back with a vengeance now. These guys are just doing it like crazy. Everything that's like, 4 number, 3 character, like any of those kinds of names, they put like a $56,000 bid, and then which is fake, and then a $2,000 bid, and nobody jumps in because they're not gonna outbid $56,000, and then that top bid goes away. They don't pay, and it goes to the second bidder, and so they're just stealing all of these names for nothing. And GoDaddy is doing nothing about it. And my guess is, and the people I've talked to, is that GoDaddy kind of can book like, here's our top level volume, right? Like, these are all the sales, and then the fact that they don't get much of that is just a collections issue, right?
Yeah.
They can report these sales, but the rest of us that are looking at these auctions are seeing that these are all fake.
Long-term customer satisfaction, customer journey is the only sustainable path. So doing that and allowing that to happen is ultimately going to cause,
And another thing that we've noticed are
that's just a
own.
bummer. That's just like.
Yeah, and there's no KYC, right?
So what does GoDaddy say about it?
Nothing. They're silent.
Because it seems like in social media that's been a big topic the last couple of months.
I have not seen any response from anybody. There could have been, but I haven't seen anything.
I can say that they're definitely working
like an accounting kind of. They're playing some accounting games because their aftermarket's way off. So that's my hunch, but I haven't gotten that verified from anybody.
Yeah,
and not that they would verify it anyway.
So I have a little kind of an inside. We work through commissions on DSAD, and we see huge commissions coming through, and at the end of every month they all disappear. So I could have $7,000 in commission, and Travis and daily email go, I wonder how long till they reverse that out. And it's always on the 20th to the 25th. And I email R.I.P and I go, here we go. Here's the next one. And it's that. Now, the only thing is, why would anybody come through my site to go bid on that domain, right? Like, that doesn't make sense that someone
That's an interesting observation.
To bid it up. So that doesn't make sense. But what I found in the last couple they were names that were being sold by people that didn't own the name. And that just can't happen. Like, you have to have proof of ownership before you allow a private auction. That's got to be KYC'd at least proof of ownership. And so for us, that's easily $2,000 a month the last couple of months, every single month through that scenario. But I will say that, and we've said this on every show, the people that work at GoDaddy are fantastic people. Like the people that you and I work with, Paul Nix, Joe Styler, Nicole, everybody there are amazing people, but they are dealing with a lot of people trying to scam them. They have to do everything officially. They can't say anything. So I understand their side as well. And I will say that, and maybe it's us because we're known in the industry, but from a personal standpoint, I always get, hey, I'm working on it. I don't get an answer, but I acknowledge you. We're working on it, and I'll get back to you. So that I appreciate. So I'm going to say something positive. There's a bunch of shit going on, but it is nice to be at least acknowledged by them and saying, we know it. We're sorry. We're working on it. So that's at least a start point. It could be completely empty, I guess, otherwise.
Yeah, there you go. Silver lining. All right. Well, look, we got a 3-way tie between Drew, myself, and Shane. Braden, so I would ask, if you don't mind, if you could serve up one more name, so we could break this tie. We could find ourselves a winner.
Okay. I sold Drop Day. Drop dropday.com.
Drop Day.
You bought Drop Day?
Drop
God, I
Day.
used to use Drop Day all the time.
Drop Day. This is like
I remember that guy. I remember him presenting at a domain conference once.
Yeah, he's
All
a
right,
good
so
guy.
Drop Day.
I liked him.
Sold it.
Marcus is
Sure.
his name, or
I don't know. I
something?
don't remember his name.
I remember. Yeah,
All right.
Drop Day.
He had some other
Um,
business that was called something day too.
mhm.
Dropday.com. Let's see.
Drop Day.
Shane, get your number on your phone.
Oh,
Oh, all right. You already flipped it.
oh,
Whoa. Shane's
All right.
going
No, we
big.
saw it,
Dropday.com. You bought
Drew's
a
at
site, a business,
$388.
or a domain
Shane's
name?
at Shane. Oh,
I'm back at 7,800. I've moved it up.
I'm at 4,999 and Shane's at
Drew, this is a
7,800.
sale, right?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a sale.
Oh, it's a sale.
You can't
It's
be,
a sale.
Oh, I
you
thought it
can't
was
be
a
switching
buy.
it now. All right.
That's why I
Sorry.
moved it up.
Hold up.
When Drew looked confused, I moved it up.
Just give me another number because clearly that was too low.
Drop Day. All right. I'm going to go over the top. 9888.
All right. So I'm at 4,999. Shane's at 7,800 and Drew is at 98888. So who is the winner? Because you actually get to say who the winner of the whole game is.
Shane's the winner.
He said he wasn't
what do you
playing
got?
out here. He said that's
No.
it.
I
It's a
sold
new
it
game.
for $7,500.
All right.
I bought it in November of 2018, so just under 5-year hold. I paid $605.
All right.
$605.
605. Awesome. That's a great deal. Yeah, I think, a name like Drop Day is pretty cool. I mean, there's obviously a domain, connotation to it. When you bought it, was it thinking about that? Because I think the more actual pertinent use, and I don't know who bought it, but it's the drops of all the
like sneaker drops. and
yes,
all that
exactly,
shit.
sneakers and
Ah,
any
Sneakers
product and all that
and
stuff.
collectibles, collabs, stuff like that. That's what I was thinking. Bought it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also last year I sold dropped.com. So that was all, which I had since in like 2012. So, the word drop related to domains has always, been in the back of my mind. But I thought Drop Day was kind of broader as well as it relates to
I almost feel like
sneakers.
it's like Prime Day, you know what I'm saying? It's like it kind of has that like, event around, like you said, like a drop, a collab, whatever it might be, collectibles and all that. That's all really cool. I probably should have gone higher.
Yeah.
Well, I should have, because that would have been the right number. But congratulations to Shane for the win. Happy
You weren't gonna
I'm
beat me
happy for
today.
you, man. I'm happy for you. You're rocking a NameJet
You
shirt.
might as well get used to
supporting
it.
our
Just go ahead and
sponsor.
send me a whole damn box of shit, because it's just, and I'll
I'm gonna
just take
bring
one
it-
out each week.
I'm bringing a bunch of swag to LA. I'm gonna give everybody swag in person. So that's good.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay,
so-
don't bring me like a triple XL because that's not gonna fit.
Because he's
I know,
he's
not
cutting
anymore.
weight.
Now you
He's a
straight up
featherweight.
medium now, dog.
I'm-
You know?
I'm a
Schmedium.
solid schmedium now that I've been vomiting for a week.
I got you. Don't worry about it, man. You know what I'm saying? We got you. All right, cool. Well, good stuff, Shane. Congratulations. A lot of great names. Congratulations to all you guys on the, especially on the sales stuff, because the Fiasco one in particular is just such a home run. I love that journey for you, Braden.
I like that name. I
So
like
you're
that
the
name.
big-
That's
you're
just
the
a
big
fun,
winner out
it's
here,
just
really,
a
when it
fun
comes-
name.
You didn't get any
Yeah.
points in the domain
It's
game,
funny.
but you had the most pimp sale mentioned on
Yeah.
the show. So
And I
Love
can't
that.
wait for it to be an MMA clothing line.
yeah, exactly right.
I have
There's
no
some-
idea who the buyer is.
Fiasco.com. I mean, it could be a whole bunch of different things, So it's like I see it just screams affliction t-shirt to me, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's go. All right, well, good stuff. So let's slide. If you guys need a break, then we can pause for a second. Otherwise, let's slide right into the NameJetGonnaJet segment. Where you guys at?
Let's do it.
Fiasco.com is going to be the slogan for the 2024 election.
Yeah, I mean, that's like
MediaOptions is the industry's leading domain broker specializing in domain acquisitions, high-value domain sales, and domain name consultation. As pioneers and thought leaders on the subject of the domain aftermarket and domain name value, plus through their clear domain acquisition service, MediaOptions offers startups and established corporations an unparalleled scope of high-value domain options, providing access to domain names and curation technologies not available elsewhere. MediaOptions believes in the power of a great domain name and is dedicated to helping you obtain yours. Call or email today to put a domain to work for you.
No joke,
talking
folks.
politics. I'm changing
Fiasco
the subject.
2024.
I got palm fronds rolling across like tumbleweeds, which is actually a name on the NameJet list today. So that is the segue to get us into segment 3, which is the NameJetGonnaJet segment, sponsored by NameJet, where we review a bunch of names coming up for auction. We see what the Sherpas like, what they don't like. Let's go ahead and pull up the list. You can go to the actual DomainSherpa post for this particular episode, download the Excel sheet that has the names, the Esteban appraisal, take those with a grain of salt. How many back orders are on the name as of the time that we tape the show? When you need to order by, these are all expiring domains, which means in order to participate in these private auctions, you need to have a back order in before the order by date. But they're all no reserve. Minimum bid $69-$79, some other data as well. We don't get any kind of affiliate benefits, so we're literally just providing these links and whatnot to help y'all in your journey. But let's talk about these names. And actually, I lied. Tumbleweeds is not on here. I thought it was. So maybe I
thought I had the wrong list. I was looking at the list. I'm like, damn.
I got all excited. I was like,
going through my email.
This is the perfect segue. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and throw it on the list. I'm going to throw tumbleweeds on this list. I'm going to give you guys I'll give you the data here in the chat so you have it, and we will include it on the actual list when it goes live.
.com?
Tumbleweeds.com. That's the Esteban value is about $5,000. You've got till September 22nd to get your back order in. And currently there are about 30 back orders on the domain, $69 minimum bid. So we are adding that into the mix. So whoever wants to kick it off, let's go. Tumbleweeds is now in the mix on the list. Do you like it? Do you like that name?
I love how you say that like it's a good domain name.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is it a good name?
Yo, let's mix it up and throw this piece of shit domain name into the mix. Because that's going to turn the show up from an 8 to a 12.
Let's go.
Right. It changes everything.
So
it changes everything.
You don't love it? You don't love that?
No, it's like a horrible domain.
All right. Well,
if it was singular, it'd be a whole different.
I'm just doing.
Is it better? Would it be better as a singular?
But I think you might have done.
Yeah. It's a brand. Tumbleweed is a brand. If it's
Tumbleweed.com is a great brand. Tumbleweeds.com is like.
What is that?
Yeah.
I mean,
what is that? A deserted place?
It's like a name about a movie about Nebraska.
All right.
No, it's a bar along the highway that nobody stops at.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. So y'all hating on tumbleweeds. Now I feel sick.
No, it gave us content.
It's unique content.
It gave us content to hate on it. There's nothing wrong with that. And it shows what the difference in an S is.
No, but I agree. You're 100% right. I mean, and we see that a lot. Like the difference between the S and the non-S goes from a brand to a product. And if it's a product that has no commercial viability, then it goes from a solid domain to a pretty terrible domain pretty quickly. And this is to a
local really restaurant.
All right. Well, what do you like on this list, Drew?
Man, hold up.
What is your cup of tea?
I did a copy paste into here, and I'm questioning whether it came through properly because you got some names. Hold up. DomainSherpa. Here we go.
Sherp.
You got McD.com on this domain list? Isn't that owned by McDonald's? They use that in the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Bro.
Where do you get that from?
I got it off
the MCD
expired list. Expired.
That's not in the expired list.
It's not.
Bro.
That's why I was tripping. I was like, MCD, they McDonald's owns that and they used it in the Super Bowl. Like they made I forget who made a big deal about it.
Well, yeah, right now it doesn't the site nothing comes up if you type it in. So McDonald's isn't forwarding it now.
Oh no. That name is not on the list. So cut that one off. That's a typo.
Yeah. All right. So MCD.com.
That's the one that Tumbleweeds is replacing on the list, actually.
Because I mean, that was an easy. I was like, "Oh, what's your favorite domain on this list?" I'll take MCD.com for
for 1,000, Alex.
Whatever price I can.
MCCL or something.
Yeah.
Like what?
I'll take MCD.com for whatever, Bob. Rest in peace, Bob Barker. Thank you very much. I mean, we have leveraged. Some of his IP in this show by talking about closest to the pin and, Price is Right. And I mean, Bob Barker, rest in peace, for real.
Rest in
Lifetime
peace.
vegetarian and animal activist.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Or
And
as yeah.
Man.
he had a great sense of humor. He got as close to the 100 pin as he could without going over.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, that's good. You mean because
Yeah.
he almost made it to
Is that
100
your
years
own?
old. And you do
No,
say
I
about
stole
his
that.
sense
Somebody
of humor.
else Twitter posted that.
But him and Billy Madison, right? Isn't that what he was? The price is wrong, bitch. Like you gotta love a guy who's real, you know.
But listen, he you know how many movies Bob Barker has been in, you know how many shows. Just the Price is Right has got to be the longest. Like Wheel of Fortune and Price is Right. Like, are there any show? Maybe Jeopardy. Is there anything longer? Price is Right is probably older than both of those.
And he was old when I was a kid. He's already
been old. He just froze in time. In 1993, he froze. They froze him in time, and he just never aged. And then he just died.
No, remember he took out the dye.
Listen,
or he
if I
started
could do
using
it,
dye.
If I could do it, and when I say do it, I mean life. Like Bob Barker, sign me up, man. And I don't say that lightly. Like there's not a lot of people but Bob Barker did it. He did it. He did it good.
Well,
he gave a building like 10 years, 11 years ago. He gave a building to PETA in LA. It's called the Bob Barker Building. I think he donated the building to them.
25 million.
His name was Barker. You know what I'm saying? So of course he was down with the dogs. You feel me? You know? And
yeah.
No, Billy, you can just edit that out.
No way. That shit was money, dog. See, no pun intended.
It wasn't. That was like the opposite of money, actually.
The price. Speaking of money, The Price is Right is network television's #1 rated daytime series and is the longest running game show in television history. That is, you talk about accomplishing some things in your life.
For real.
Yo, big shout out to
Bob. Anyways, rest in peace. R.I.P. Bob Barker. You did it good.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for everything.
All right, so back to the NameJet game.
Back to the show. There's a lot of great names on this list. My #1 favorite name on the list, although I do not think it's the domain which has the highest upside, but TrojanHorse.com is just, I love that name.
Banger. Love that name.
Just an absolute banger. I love TrojanHorse.com. I also really like LightGreen.com. Honestly, there's a lot. So I really like this list. I think it's the first time we had a great list in a little while, but this is a great list. I really like.
You did say that 3 shows ago. This is our best list.
No, the last show where the David one before.
No, last show was not the time.
Yeah, last one wasn't it. Last one wasn't it. But it's a constantly revolving, flowing inventory, right? So. Shout out to NameJet for having some pretty sick names on the platform. And here's the thing. When we don't do a show for a couple weeks, like, where we have a break from a Sherpa review, it allows us to pull more. You know what I mean? So that's also why.
They did add a section that just says expiring names. And when you click on that section, some good shit comes up now. Like, it was a little harder to find stuff. And now they've just got into one column. And, again, I work the list every single day trying to find names. It's good. There's some good stuff in there.
Yeah. All right, Drew, one more name and then we'll move it along.
All right. I'm going to go with I'm going to leave some of the juicy stuff to these guys. I'm going to go with mycupoftea.com. I really like that. It's a phrase that I use all the time. And as I've said probably 20 times on this show, it's really difficult to find great brands for tea companies, and tea companies are growing and growing and growing. So My Cup of Tea, I think, is a great brand. It's a great name. It can be used for other things. And you probably get it for, a reasonably good price, but that probably punches above its weight. And then one name I don't like, which is the only bad name on the list, is Grievous.com. Like, the hell are you going to do with Grievous.com?
All my faults, all my grievous faults. I feel you. It is one of those where we bring this up on a lot of shows where it's not all one-word domains are created equal, right? And this one is one of those where it's like, okay, it's a single word, but what is the commercial viability? It's a negative connotation. It's tough to spell. It's kind of like checks all the boxes of the things that would devalue a name that you would look. All the benefits of a oneword.com are basically non-existent with this particular one. So,
but I do love me some Trojan Horse. That is a amazing name.
That is fire.
All right, let
So
me
what do you
let me
think?
talk about the legal name that everybody thinks is going to be fantastic, and then I'm going to explain why it's not fantastic.
Love this.
Because it's, category killer, malpracticeattorneys.com. Everybody thinks, wow, nailed it, right? Big practice area, problems. Malpractice settlements are capped at $250,000. So there are no big malpractice cases anymore. The insurance companies have come in, hired their lobbyists and their lawyers, and have just crushed that whole practice area.
Devil's in the details.
So that's number one. You have to understand what you're looking at, right? So it's just not a fantastic, while it's a big practice area, it's not a fantastic practice area because there's not big money in it. All right. That's number one.
Anymore.
Number two, as I always say, there are 4 versions of this domain name, all of exact equal value. Malpractice attorneys, malpractice attorney, malpractice lawyer, malpractice lawyers. All have equal value on the .com. All 4 of those are currently for sale. So you are competing with 3 other names that are on the market and have been on the market. We don't know what those prices are, but whatever you pay and whatever you need to sell them for, it's probably more than what these other ones are available for. So you have a lot of competition out there with this exact name. So don't run out and spend a whole bunch of money thinking you're going to make a fortune on this name, because you will sit on it forever. That's my 2
That's
cents.
a really good way to get a name for cheap.
Well, look,
As he goes in and
I'm not saying
backwards
I'm not going to bid on it.
No, I'm just
I am, because we can develop it out and we can do some lead gen, but it's just not a high value practice area. It just isn't. And for the right price, I'll take it. But this isn't like DUIlawyers.com or divorce
The
lawyers.
Viscount loves a discount.
Ooh, the Viscount of discounts. Let's go. All right.
It's not a high value name. This is
Rapping
not
out here.
people are
Totally.
like, dude, I can sell this for $150,000. No, you can't. You can't sell it for $15,000. So just putting that out there.
No, and I think that's amazing feedback. I mean, you are an absolute expert in this space, and
That's your wheelhouse.
so that's where
I've literally been doing legal names for 18 years.
I know.
But
It's
like beyond the very specific point you've just made, it's just so illustrative of like how people make major mistakes by not understanding the details. Like people used to send me all these seafood names, and I'd be like, listen, guys, a couple years ago, I was on the phone with the people that you want to sell these domains to. And let me tell you something. When you call, Jack over at, New England Fresh, and you're like, hey, do you want to buy fishmonger.com? Jack's going to literally tell you right where to go. And like, he might send a dead fish to your door. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you were like, Jack, I want to give you this domain for free, he'd be like, why are you wasting my fucking time? And he'd scream at you, and then he'd hang up the phone. And you'd be like, I don't know what just happened. Anyways,
Jack's a
people,
dick.
people don't, you gotta understand the context, because context is everything. The details matter. And, that's a mistake I would have made myself. It's like, oh, wow, malpractice. Well, I know malpractice insurance is big, expensive because there are always malpractice things. Well, guess what? When things are capped at $250, as Braden said, it's like the fees that the lawyers are earning on that malpractice case that was capped at $250 is now $70,000, $75,000 instead of millions of dollars. So,
yeah, and I think the piece about
to take that to trial, and the attorney's gonna, maybe he's gonna spend $150,000 taking it to trial.
Easy,
if he wins maximum, right?
Yeah.
What happens? The client makes nothing.
Nothing.
Because the attorney makes $100,000, they make 40%, right?
Yep.
And then they take $150,000 in their fees that they put out. That's $250,000.
Is 40% the new 30%?
It's pretty common. Even 45. Personal injury. Personal injury could be 50%.
That's crazy.
All right. Well,
the one thing I love
Braden,
is
what
when
else
people
you
have
like?
to pay back their insurance.
What's that?
Like if they sue the doctor and the insurance companies, they don't get covered under their workman's comp. They have to pay all that money back. They have to pay all the medical fees that they got for free. They have to pay all that. That all has to come out of the suit. And so they think they make all this money. And by the time they've been waiting 3 years getting workman's comp, and they got to pay that all back. They get like 12 grand out of $300,000. So yeah, people just don't know.
What else do I like? I think survival products is good in this day and age. Survival products have always been kind of hot. Emergency preparedness products. I like Organic Kitchen. Organic is trending, and Organic Kitchen is a great little name for whatever, cater, food truck, ghost kitchen, restaurant.
I think even if you're selling like,
Brand.
organic, like, salad dressings and, like just
Anything.
organic foods, is Organic
it's a
Kitchen
good-
is a
it's a
great
good
brand
brand.
for that. All right, one more, and
of course-
then you got to give the list to Shane.
Of course, IRH, that goes without saying. Solid,
it.
solid 3.
Shane,
Yeah.
did they leave you
There's nothing
anything?
left, but I'll say, even a name like Party Pro is pretty versatile on a lot of different aspects, from party planning to a store that you go do birthday. That's the other thing. I've always been amazed that there's literally a party supply store, not like Hobby Lobby or all these other, but literally just to get balloons and craft paper and cards. And it survives. Like, it's been there for a decade. That the
Party
whole
City,
store
baby,
can be just for parties. Yeah.
Chain,
it's-
too.
it's-
Well, and what we've seen
Yeah,
a
it's a
lot
chain.
with my kids are kind of getting out of the age for it, but you have the gaming trucks and stuff, and like the different activities, and you got bouncy houses and all sorts of stuff that, like, especially when my kids were younger, that kind of thing would be like right in their wheelhouse, and Party Pro would be like almost like a perfect.
And I
name.
hand registered gender reveal party. That's how old I am. They didn't even exist really when I hand registered it.
Oh, man.
And now that's
There you
like
go.
literally one of the biggest events going right now. Like,
It's like
everybody
the
has a
number
gender
one
reveal
cause
party.
of
I actually own game trucks.
divorces and fires at the house. They're like, oh, we're gonna.
I think we talked
light
about
off these
game trucks on
fireworks,
here
and he
once.
just set fire to a tent.
Yeah,
so.
no, that's exactly
I've owned
right.
it for years.
And in survival products, I do like, because shows like Alone, I wrote this in my blog the other day. I literally watched Alone for like 8 hours of these people out. We're sitting in our house eating cookies, watching these people.
That's
go
my
for
shit.
like
I told you
60
that. That's
days.
my thing. I love eating. I love like gouging on food when I'm
I'm
watching.
like,
these people
oh, he got
starve
a
on TV.
beaver. That's 980
Terrible.
calories per pound. Like, I know that a beaver has 980 calories per pound.
Hey,
I don't know how
beavers
to
are
skin
good
a
eating,
beaver.
man. If you can get yourself,
Well, they're
a beaver.
35 to 60 pounds, depending on what age you get them. I mean, this is the
That's
kind of
exactly.
needless information that I have no idea, but I know that definitely lends itself to people hunting more and getting on. It's not just COVID, survival, getting out in the wilderness and pretending like they're, having issues is a thing. So that's definitely there. I think Organic Kitchen's just a great one. There's so many, it exudes exactly what it is right in the title. Like, that this is going to be organic and healthy, and Braden all the way. So that's a really good one.
It's going to be
IRH
great.
Too, man. I actually think Drew. I'm surprised Drew didn't mention it. That's even more of his, like,
Oh, that's true too.
That's.
But
his
is that Drew or is that
you guys
Drew?
have talked me into the name. In general, I've moved away from those types of names just because, like, it's kind of like how I feel about AI. It's like organic is kind of more than trending. It's kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, and
You kind of have to be stupid to not want to eat only organic produce or.
I mean,
foods that-
pigeonhole is. I agree with you, but I do
But
think that
glyphosate
there-
is just such a big problem that, like, even organic foods
Yeah.
have glyphosate in it. Like, you just have to basically be doing all food you eat. Basically, you have to be trying to
Washing.
avoid that
Avoid what?
glyphosate
What's glyphosate?
and all the
Glyphosate-
pesticides.
Roundup.
and
Glyphosate
fertilizers.
is Roundup, and imidacloprid is one of the biggest pesticide. Imidacloprid is a real big problem, and then glyphosate is Roundup. And Roundup, I can give you a little history just because this is my background. Roundup was just Roundup, wasn't so bad. It only has a 24-hour life cycle, so if it's on the surface in 24 hours, it's broken down. The problem is everybody wants things to happen quickly, right? Nobody can just let things burn over 4 days, because that's what it used to take, 4 days for it to knock it down. So they add a sticker, which makes it burn it immediately. You can literally watch it die over the course of the day. But what does that sticker do? It introduces it into the plant quicker and faster. and it starts going into the bark of trees and into the leaves of trees and goes deeper in. So that's the biggest problem, is you're introducing glyphosate with another product that makes it even more effective. And that's a huge problem. We did a tree test here in town of trees that are just in the woods, nowhere near any farm fields. 30% of them had glyphosate in the plant, and they're not even within miles of any crops. So it's just everywhere. The key is, what can your body take and what can your body not take? But yeah, these are all issues, and these are big problems. Imidacloprid's banned in Europe already, probably be banned. It's what gets rid of Japanese beetles, and it lingers for 1 year. It'll stay literally in that plant for a year and kill bugs the entire year, which is great if you're trying to kill bugs for a year. Everybody gets excited. What humans want and what humans need, there's a big gap that they don't understand. So yeah, those are all legit things. And again,
Man,
that's what
I
we
wish
say,
we would
Jared,
just
information.
I wish we would just assign the fucking resources that we're putting towards, like, you know, attacking carbon, and put that towards fixing our food chain and like food supply and the horrible things that we're doing in there. Anyways,
all right. Well, look, it's picking up some wind and rain, so I don't want to get cut off here if something
I'm
happens.
about to hit by a tornado.
Yeah. So this might be the last time
all
y'all see
these
me.
are
I just want
lessons
you guys
for
to know
life.
that it's been amazing. It's been awesome. No, but all right. Well, we're starting to push up on time. We got about 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
What else you got, Shane? You got any other comments on any of
No,
that?
these are all lessons for life. That's what I'm saying. Lessonsforlife.com with all what Drew and I said.
Yeah,
just
I
in a
really like
little
Lessons
handy.
for Life.
Hey, ChatGPT, take the video that we just did, break it down into short little sentences, and put it on a website. Thank you. Okay, it's already up.
Hey, yeah, it is about that easy. So, all right, well, cool. So we've covered a lot of ground. I think we've literally talked about every single name. Thank you guys for that. Now, as we slide into our final segment of the show, which is grand closing. So if there's anything that we haven't already talked about, I know we covered London Domain Summit. Make a note of that. I want to put it in the description. We talked about what y'all been up to. We talked about the status of the market and some trends, and even a big old R.I.P. to our boy Bob Barker. But does anybody, why don't we go around the horn real quick to see if we missed anything? Drew, you got anything else, man?
No, man, I'm just very happy for the first time about a recent ESG development where people are trying to extend the carbon footprint that you have to the carbon footprint that is created by the taxes you pay. And so in this funny way, it's going to suddenly drive people to feel like they have public responsibility, which I feel they do as a libertarian, to pay the least amount of taxes possible within the legal, law, within the law. So I just think it's great. I think it's fantastic. I think that we should worry about the carbon footprint that is created by the taxes we pay that funds endless wars for no reason. That's my update.
That's pretty good. That's a good update. No, I'm just, but yeah, I think that's an interesting point. I do agree. I think sometimes, we do have to look at it from those types of lenses to say, hey, like, let's put the shoe on the other foot for a second, because there are taxes.
Well, it's just, it's funny. It's like, life sometimes, the universe has a way of fixing stupidity. And I think that this is one of those indirect ways that's going to come around and fix stupidity. So I'm happy about it. It doesn't happen all the time.
Well, and I would take it a little bit of a different angle because you and I, we're somewhat similar but different approaches. And I do think, though, when you talk about, how's that for how I framed it? Is that good?
Very well done. Expert.
But what I will say is you're absolutely right. I look at it more like government waste, right? If you're talking about carbon footprint and, wanting to try to address it in a way, because, we're sitting in the middle of a hurricane in a hurricane season that's supposed to be, extra intense because of the higher temperature.
El Nino.
And everything else, brought on potentially, partially, totally by climate change. So but there is so much waste, especially at the government level. And, you know, and you think about that and you talk about the carbon footprint caused by some of that. It's like, yeah, let's look at all sides of this, you know, and because,
Yeah.
you know, I think that's important. So I'm with you.
Every one of those Patriot missiles has got a big carbon footprint. Tell you that much.
Well, yes, that is very true.
Not to mention the reconstruction that comes after.
I'm not even talking about the forever wars and some of that, but I do agree. I think obviously there's an excess there.
That's
but
just
I don't want to make
the iceberg.
I don't want to make it super political, but I just think in general, you talk about, again, you're penalizing companies, right? Taxing them for having a carbon footprint. But when you look at how much government waste there is and you realize how much we're doing there, it's like, let's put the shoe on both feet. That's all I'm saying, you know, like, hey, everybody should pay their fair share if you're talking about it that way. So, and in that way, I agree with you, my dude. All right. So let's keep it moving though, not to make this too political. You know what I'm saying? Braden, what's up? What you got?
Oh, hi.
Live from the Plaza Hotel. The Viscount of Woodland Hills.
What do I have to say? Should I pick up some random thing that is happening in the world? No, I'm going to talk about domains. We
Love it.
I think we talked about it earlier about the uptick in August, which has been great. I've got like 3 negotiations in the mid 6 figures, 1 to 7 figures. So hopefully I'll have some good sales to report next month. Ideally, it's been terrible. I mean, this year just was pretty dry. I mean, it did okay, but not great relative to how much I've spent over the last few years and my portfolio size now. So I'm glad to see it pick up in August, both in sales and in inquiries and in real negotiations. So,
well, and I think, you know, we talk about this internally. You know, there's a long tail on a lot of this stuff, you know, and when you're talking about owning a domain portfolio, we talk about it on the show all the time. You know, 4.5 month big flip of something like fiasco.com is not the norm, right? That's the exception to the rule. And you have to be able to sort of withstand some of the ebbs and flows of this thing, because when the getting is good, it's, you know, it can be pretty wild. And, you know, in these markets, you know, in this bear market or whatever we're in, this sort of sideways market that we've been in for a minute, you know, with especially, you know, when you talk about crypto and some of these other things, you know, there's definitely moments where you're like, damn, like, we gonna sell anything? You know, like, is this the new normal? How long is this going to last? But, you know, I think we always talk about it too, is domains are not going anywhere. You know, the internet is not going anywhere. And, you know, good quality.com domains and some others as well are going to always be a staple. And, you know, you're going to get sales.
You talk about the exception to the rule, but, you know, the thing is, it's like we leave out context. And the context is, you know, I've spent, you know, over $10 million in the last few years on domain names. And, you know, so I talk about a sale of a couple $100,000 or $500,000 or whatever, and, you know, some good flips, except that I spend far more than I bring in on domain names. It's not even close. And, you know, ultimately I hope to turn that around. One day I'll start buying less and hopefully selling more, you know, and that'll flip. But right now I'm kind of in investment mode. But the context is, I'm not actually turning a profit, right? If you look at what I'm investing, right? So, you know, it's not exactly an outlier because, you know, I've bought.
Well, you can't really say you're not cash flow positive.
Right. No, that's true. That's true. I mean, it's
because you are making a profit.
There's a profit on that name.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. There's certainly a profit on that name, but I'm not.
But you're expelling more cash than you're bringing in.
Definitely expending more cash by a lot. And so you're going to have to look at that context of, you know, am I making a lot of money? Well, I don't know. It depends how you look at it. Not really. Not if I'm spending more than I'm making. Right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that. That's good. You know, and, you know, it lets people know the grass isn't always greener. You know, you could be like Braden, you know, you might be the Viscount of Woodland Hills and it might look amazing from the outside looking in. But, you know, the penthouse of the Plaza is a lonely place at times, you know.
I'm not, you know, I'm not complaining. This is by design. You know, I take profits from other businesses and put it in domain names because I'd rather sit on an appreciating asset than a depreciating cash asset. But we talk about sales. We don't talk about all the names that we bought and then we're sitting on that we're not selling, that we're paying renewals on.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we have a lot of cash tied up in our portfolio, and we just talk about the sales, and it's just a small part of what we're doing. And so when somebody, we see all the time. I mean, I know somebody had just sold a name for like $2,000 on Dan, and then they or wherever it was, and then the person who bought it relisted it for $6,000. Like, no, I think it was like 2,500 to 6,000. I mean, there's just that person's not going to make any money because they're thinking it's worth, and maybe it is worth 6,000. Maybe it was underpriced, except that there's not enough margin there.
Yeah.
When you apply the amount of inventory you have to have,
you're doing it wrong.
It's not enough margin. You need to have like big margins.
This is not a liquid market. You cannot operate on 30% margins. That doesn't work in this business. Yeah. You will go out to sea with the tide.
Yep.
That says what it is. So
seen a lot of come, seen a lot of go.
Seen a lot.
Yeah, I mean, mine had it.
All right, Shane, what about you?
So in my case, like for, I always had another business. Like I said, my income was from other sources. I had plenty of other things. So for my entire domain career, I would pretty much sell a domain, pay my taxes on it, and then buy another domain and fill up the portfolio and just keep rolling it, compound interest, doing it. But then I got to the point now where I retire and I'm thinking, do I want to continue this process? So didn't help that things dried up at the beginning of the year. But coming into the year, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to adjust my percentage of what I put back into it, because you could do that forever, but it's for your kid. So at some point you start taking out more. And that's like my business before. That's the problem with business. Anybody who tells you that they're rich isn't growing their business, because rich people aren't growing businesses. They put all their money right back into it. And that's how it works. Like if you don't want to take VC money, you don't want to take capital, you want to invest in yourself. The best returns you ever get are in your own business. The problem being you put it right back in. So you're always cash poor. Add some partners to it, and then the retained earnings have to be divided up equally amongst everybody that's owners. Then you got even more issues, because if you got a guy with a big owner,
you decide you stop buying domain names, and then you're no longer cash poor. The cash starts rolling in, and it doesn't go back out.
And that's the same with my business. I decide not to buy more land and not to hire more people and not to pay more trees. But the reality is, I need to keep the cash flow coming because employees want raises and people want more opportunity. And and there's economies of scale. That's not so much in domain names, but there's all these things that if you know, and building your own business doesn't make you rich. Selling your business makes you rich. Stop growing makes you rich. But in the course of building that business, you're just cash flowing it, and on
it's
paper,
really
you're
interesting
very
the way you say that, because when I even talked to like the guy who built one our house back in the day, I always remember him telling me when he was explaining some of how his business is as a pretty small home builder, how they would operate, and and he said, he's like, we'll make our money once we stop building houses, because he's like, we're basically taking all of our profit and rolling it into building the next one and then building the next one. He's like, so we'll actually make our money when we stop, and which I think
people don't understand that. Yeah. And then you go and your kid, my kid goes to Ivy League and they say, you pay full price. I'm like, I don't have any cash. And they're like, on paper, you're rich as a motherfucker. Like, Ivy Leagues don't depreciate any assets. If you bought a tractor in 1992, guess what? That tractor is $150,000. No depreciating assets whatsoever. Everything you own is at full price. Your car, everything. So it's, again, I'm not complaining, because there's also the people that have the Yukon Denali. That was on the, at 6,003 pounds with full depreciation using the farm credit. There's lots of ways to get your stuff through the company. So it's still doable, but it's not all roses. Like, when we see Braden selling millions, no, when I go to his house, I'll tell you a different story, that he's doing fine. But other than that, you still got to put it right back in.
When you arrive at the house and the butler comes out, you're like, I'm here to see the viscount. And they're like, we shall fetch him.
Will you be staying in the purple room or the golden room?
All right, well, look. With that, I think we covered a ton of ground on today's show. You guys shared a ton, not just, I think that the insight into even the flow of funds within your business is a really interesting, piece of information to share with everybody. I mean, when we talked about malpractice attorneys, Braden, the fact that you're able to provide that kind of insight for people, I mean, because you are an expert doing, those kind of domains, that kind of business for 20 plus years or almost 20 years, 18 years.
Yeah.
Giving that to the audience is a pretty amazing thing. So as always, I appreciate you guys for being on here, all of you sharing. You're not really guests, you're more like my co-host, which is what I say. So I appreciate y'all co-hosting with me. And to the audience, thank you guys for tuning in. Like I say on every show, without you, there is no us. So, but if you have any feedback, questions, comments, things on like the Lease To Own stuff that we talked about, any of the Afternic stuff, any of the, even if you just want to say, hey, look, I just want to join you guys in saying R.I.P. to our boy Bob Barker, hit us up. We're not hard to find. You guys know what it is. Otherwise, we will catch y'all next time here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Thanks y'all for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Peace out.